Also, later on in the show, we're going to have Dr. Leonard Jeffries on. We're going to talk about understanding Marcus Garvey in the 21st century. And in a few minutes, we should have Professor Ronald Duncan, who's a Grandmaster of Ninjitsu. And I've read about him for years. Never thought I would interview him. Professor Ronald Duncan is also known as the father of American Ninjitsu. He was born in Panama. Professor Duncan began training in boxing at the age of 7 years old. Since Professor Duncan grew up in an area where many of the elite military forces of that country were training in jungle warfare, because he grew up in Panama, he learned at an early age to read the signs of nature for direction in and out of the jungle. It was the beginning of a long and very involved career in many aspects of the martial arts. Ronald Duncan went on to serve in the United States Marine Corps, where he was a member of the USMC judo team and earned one of his earliest black belt rankings. Professor Duncan went on to earn a black belt in several other disciplines, such as Haiko Rui Jiu-Jitsu, Dai Nippon Jiu-Jitsu Rui, Sosushi Rui, Kendai Gaiko Rui, Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo, Kobo Jiu-Jitsu, which deals with weaponry, Shinobino Jitsu, popularly known as Ninjitsu also, okay, which is the art of the ninja. His teachers were all legendary men: Charlie Neal, Ernie Cates, Tatsuo Uzaki, and Don Drager. Evolving into such a versatile practitioner of the martial arts, Professor Duncan became the first non-Oriental to be publicly recognized in the magazine Official Karate as a master of martial arts weaponry. So this brother's a pioneer in martial arts. I remember reading about him back in the late 80s. Black Belt Magazine and Karate's Modern Masters and other magazines and books. For many years to come, Professor Duncan would thrill audiences from around the world with spectacular demonstrations that would include vast assortments of traditional and non-traditional weapons. Ronald Duncan was also the first to be shown catching live arrows with his bare hands on nationally televised programs such as Thrill Seekers and Wild World of Sports. And actually, if you go to YouTube and type in Ronald Duncan, there's a video clip. It was from an old show back from the 70s, and Chuck Connors was the host of the show. And I can't remember the name of it because I watched it yesterday. It's either Wild World of Sports or something like that, or Thrill Seekers. But they show him, somebody shoots an arrow at him, and he catches the arrow in midair. Ronald Duncan has taught special troops, Navy SEAL teams, law enforcement agencies, and various government agencies in foreign countries. He's also a certified expert in firearms and competition shooting. Having such knowledge in firearms, Professor Duncan is quite proficient in combative and gun disarming tactics, and I've seen some of his video clips on YouTube of disarming guns. Since the establishment of his Way of the Winds system, schools internationally are affiliated with him. He has taught in Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Bermuda, Panama, England, and South Africa. He has also been involved with the blind, physically handicapped, and homeless inner city youth. Ronald Duncan is a recipient of numerous Hall of Fame awards and honors, including the Professional Karate Federation in 1977, the PKF, Turtle Hall of Fame in 1981, Marine Martial Arts Federation of Fame Charter Life member in 1997, Martial Arts Masters Pioneers, and Legends Hall of Fame 1997, and other awards also. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and we should be back with Professor Ronald Duncan. And let's see, Professor Duncan, if you're on the line, press the number 1 key to put you in queue so I can bring you on the air, because I think I may see him on the line. Okay. Now, also be sure to visit our page on Blog Talk, blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show. And you can mark our show as one of your favorites. Click on the follow button so you can follow us. It'll update you on what's going on with us, and update you on who's going to be on the show also. So let me, I see him right here. We're going to the 516. Let me welcome to the African History Network Show, Grandmaster Professor Ronald Duncan, father of American Ninjitsu. Welcome to the African History Network show, Professor Duncan. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm doing great.
Excellent.
What about yourself?
Excellent. Oh, brother, I'm fantastic, man. Now I'm talking to you, brother. I've been reading about you since the 80s.
Yeah, it goes back before the 80s, actually. Yeah.
Well, I know that, but I wasn't born in 71, so, I started
it goes back before 71.
About martial arts and stuff like that in the 80s.
Right.
Exactly,
It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, no problem, brother, man. Trust me, brother. The pleasure is all mine. When I saw the flyer, Simon Templar, King Solomon sent me the flyer, and I know you had an earlier date, and it was rescheduled. And he sent me the flyer, man. I said, Ronald Duncan. I said, that name sounds familiar. And then I opened it up.
Yeah.
I said, oh, man. Excellent. Well, look, brother, now this event is coming up this Saturday, September 3rd, in Brooklyn, okay?
That's correct.
And it's titled, let's see, it says, Ronald Duncan finally breaks his silence after many years. It's time to dispel the fact, fiction, and myth of martial arts and its physical and spiritual origin. Now, for those, let's start with just a couple definitions. For those who may not be familiar with this, first of all, just explain this briefly. What is ninjitsu, so that we have a accurate working definition?
Well, actually, ninjitsu means a lot of things to a lot of people.
Yes.
With the Japanese culture, ninjitsu means the art of, it has many interpretations. Totality, invisibility, the art of endurance, the art of stealing in, stealing out, the art of totality. It means everything. It can mean nothing, absolutely. So that's ninjitsu in a nutshell. It's also known as shinobi no jitsu, and lately they're utilizing the term as a ninpo, which actually was surprising to me when that terminology emerged in the 90s. But ninjitsu is all of those things. It can mean, at its worst, it can mean, guerrilla warfare. It means espionage. It means all of the dark side of combatives. But ninjitsu means the art of all of those things, totality, and the art of winning.
The art of winning. Now, for a working definition for the lay person who may not read Black Belt Magazine or Inside Kung Fu, they may not study martial arts. Is it safe to say that, like in a nutshell, ninjitsu is, say, the art of the ninja, or something to that extent?
Ninjitsu is an art form that can be applicable to any of the other individual combative forms. But it's attributed to the ninjas. Let me explain to you. Ninjitsu actually entered Japan via the Korean peninsula in 6 BC. It evolved out of India through Tibet, down through China, and then across the peninsula into Japan, where it was utilized by various individuals for the sake of building empires and for self-preservation of self-loved ones, community, and it emerged into a higher form of combatives.
Okay, excellent. Now, this Saturday, it says that you finally break your silence after many years. And why were you silent for many years, if you don't mind me asking, especially for those who may not be familiar with this?
Well, actually, the title was placed upon this meeting because I didn't say very much. Over the years in the martial arts, and just about all my life, I prefer to show as opposed to telling. And always when I showed, I tried to maximize what I could do, taking those skills inherent to meet the higher levels. I didn't talk. I did. And there was a lot of things that took place in my travels through the ninjitsu world and the martial arts world, going back to before the 50s. I've encountered a lot of things which were very, very, very unpleasant, particularly to a certain segment of our society.